Good evening to you all. Tonight I've been asked to talk about savings and investments. I'm sure that this is not a strange topic to most of us. At one time or another, you probably have heard about savings, about investments. But I'm hoping that at the end of the session, you will learn something which you can apply in your lives, something that you can look back to once it brings results, and you can say that I remember that meeting where I learned this particular truth. That once I had applied it, these are the results that were affected in my life. So, savings and investments. So, when we're talking about savings, investments, essentially what we're talking about is attaining wealth. The goal, the end result of it all, of the whole process, is that we want to come to a point where we have said that we can say that we have attained a certain level of wealth, where we can say that I have more than enough. So in this presentation mostly, I'm going to be concentrating on building a mindset that can help us to get to this goal that I'm talking about. How do we get to the point where we can attain wealth? How can saving and how can investing help us to come to a point where we'll say, I have wealth, or I have more than enough for me, such that I'm abounding to whatever it is that I desire to do. That is the area that I am going to concentrate on. So the first thing when you talk about building a mindset, building a money mindset, I've talked about how I'm going to concentrate on building a mindset of creating wealth. So the first thing that we consider is to let go of the limiting beliefs that we have relating to wealth. Most of us have grown up in environments which are not conducive, or which we say are not conducive to any wealth. So that has created a certain belief in us, saying that it's not possible for us to come to a certain level that we see others come to. But once we deal with this mindset, and then we develop an I can mindset, you find that the whole process of gaining wealth, of attaining wealth, becomes far much easier. Because without this mindset, any other strategies that we come up with will just attain to nothing. They'll literally just be ineffective. So the first thing, you build a mindset, a money mindset. That is the most crucial thing that we need to start with. We let go of our limiting beliefs about money. We come to a point where we believe that we have the capacity to get wealth, to believe that it is possible for me, for you in particular, to get wealth despite the systems that are designed to keep it from us. With that mental drive, then anything will be possible. Some time back, I remember to have read a report by the Food and Agriculture Organization. It was talking about the causes of intractable poverty in Africa. I'll read it out for you because there were several causes that they had listed, but there's one that I read that stuck with me. I'm going to read that extract for you so that you can hear it for yourself. It said, the most notable cause of intractable poverty identified by the majority, both in interviews and the training, was laziness. This is characterized as having a low interest in a good life, passivity, a lack of motivation and initiative, low intellect, dependency thinking, reliance on assistance from others, and lack of life skills, that is to plan and organize their life. The last one was bad training and care of children by parents. So let's break it down. It said the most notable cause of intractable poverty was laziness. So they broke it down to say this laziness was characterized by having a low interest in a good life, like no desire at all for a good life. You're comfortable with where you are. Passivity. You just let things happen around you. You're not pushing. You're just comfortable. You relax. There's no pressure to say, I want to move to the next stage. Then lack of motivation and initiative, similar. Low intellect, that one is self-explanatory. Dependency thinking, where you can come up with a solution. You're always thinking of somebody doing this for you. Somebody will come up with a solution for me. Somebody will do this for me. Somebody will provide for me. I can be the one that will provide a solution. then reliance on assistance from others, and then the lack of life skills. When you look at those points, and we look at our own lives, or we look at our environment, we look at the people that we live with in Africa, do you think that that is defining one of the most causes, or one of the most notable causes of poverty for us? Do you think that it really applies, or maybe it's just theoretical? Personally, I didn't like it the first time I read it, but over time, I've come to really see that this point was basically true. When we don't have that desire, when we are lazy in summary, we can't do a lot in life. We just let life happen to us. Even the Bible puts it in this way. In Proverbs 6, verse 6 to 8, it talks about the ant, where it says that, "Go to the ant, O lazy one, observe her ways and be wise. Though not having a ruler, she prepares her food in summer and brings in her provisions of food for the winter in the harvest." So it starts by saying, go to the ant, O you lazy ones. Like in other versions, it says sluggard. More or less talking about the same thing, to say we are not able to reach certain goals, we're not able to achieve certain things, we're not able to save for the future, to prepare for the future, just because sometimes we are lazy. So I would encourage you, I would encourage all of us today, just as this verse has been encouraging me all along, to say that if an ant can do it, if an ant can save, as small as it is, yeah, as weak as it is, I mean, look, imagine an ant. You can just step on it, kill it, without even consideration, no energy exerted. But as small and as tiny as it is, the Bible says it is able to prepare for winter. It is able to save. It is able to invest. It does that in summer, so that when winter comes, there are no worries, because it prepared in advance. So I encourage you, like an ant, let's use what we have. Like an ant, even though what we have may not seem like much, let us have that desire, let us have that initiative, let us have that drive to say that we also can do something for our future. Let us not have that dependence syndrome where we're just depending on some other people to do this, some other people to come up with solutions for us, or to say that these things belong to these other people or to this category of people. Come to the point where you believe that you too are a solution, you too are an answer, you too can make a difference. Just like an ant, you have the capacity to provide, to prepare, to invest for your future. I was also looking at the IMF Outlook, Economic Outlook report for October, where it talked about the global growth going down. Like it was 3.5% in 2022, 3% in 2023, and they're projecting that it's going to be 2.9% in 2024. Now that was before even the Israel-Hamas war. That hasn't been factored in. So you can see that it's a declining trend, so it's continuing to slow down. If we bring it down to Africa, you find that for Uganda, they are projecting that the economy will grow by 6% by the end of 2024, and for Malawi, about 1.7%. But despite all this, when you look at this economic outlook, it's not positive. It's something that can make you think that one cannot prosper, one cannot succeed in that environment. And yet in the midst of that, there are others who are becoming millionaires, there are others who are becoming billionaires in dollars, in the same environment, same situation, facing same circumstances. In fact, in 2023, there are about 150 new billionaires that joined the Forbes list of billionaires in dollars in this year. So how did they do it? What is it that they do that the rest of us or the rest of the people are not doing? What can we learn from them? What are the things that they have habitually done that have become habits for them, that has caused them to become more established in the way that they do things, that are now bringing all those results that they're doing in their lives to the point that they become pioneers in circumstances that are not conducive to that? So that is what I hope that we'll be able to learn, we'll be able to get from this session as we learn about savings and investment. The first thing when we observe these people that become millionaires, that become billionaires, is that they take ownership of their money. They don't leave it to chance. They make a decision to be in charge of their financial destiny. They don't just make it a wish, a dream, like more like a fantasy, but they actually make a decision to say, I want to become wealthy. So it's a decision. They decide that financial success, financial abundance is going to be part of their success or part of their goals. So it's clearly stated out. I want to become financially wealthy to this extent. So they decide it, they work for it, they prepare for it, they make it happen until they see it become a reality in their lives. So the key thing, financial wealth is not just a wish. If we want to become wealthy, we need to make a decision to do so. So we take ownership of your money, we make a decision, not just a wish, that we are going to become wealthy. And once we make that decision, we are going to have to set clear goals. So, as I said, they make a decision. To make a decision to put financial abundance as your goal, it means you set out clear goals to say, this is what I want to do. There's a specific goal for it. So it says that people are able to achieve more of what they want in life once they're able to specify it clearly. In fact, they say that our ability to achieve something increases by over 40% as soon as we start writing it down and breaking it down into smaller goals. As simple as that is. When we say we want to become financially wealthy, what does it mean to you? If I were to ask you, you don't have to show anybody, 5 years from now, where do you want to be? When you say that for you, because wealth is subjective, for me it might be a different figure, for you it would be different. Just for you, on your own, if I were to ask you, how would you define your success for yourself to say that if I'm at this level, if I'm able to earn this much, or if my net worth is this much in 5 years' time, I will have said that I'm wealthy. What is that figure for you? So please write it down. For me, for yourself. You not show me, but write it down so that you can see it and you come back to it over and over again as you go on. So you write your goal, you take ownership of your money, you make a decision that I want to become wealthy. You work towards that decision. You set clear goals, that's the first one. You break it down. Once you've done that, you start doing what they that are making money do. It's like, because literally there are very few things that I knew on this earth. It's like deciding that you like banana cake. Yeah, you could say, I want a banana cake. The next step will be, how do I make it? So you take a step further. You'll find a recipe. You find the recipe. Once you go through that recipe, you look at the ingredients. You find that the ingredients that are listed. Just by taking those steps, one, you made a decision, I want a banana cake. Two, you said, okay, how am I going to make a banana? How am I going to get a banana cake? I'm going to make it. All those are decisions. So how am I going to make it? I need a recipe for it. Then you get the recipe, you look at the ingredients. All those are steps that you're taking. Once you look at the ingredients, those are like your resources that you need to come up with the banana cake. When you actually go out and get the ingredients, the resources, you've moved far much more than somebody who's just sitting down and thinking, I wish I could have a banana cake. Now when you come to the point where you actually bake it, then you are going miles and miles ahead. So you bake it the first time, it may not come out exactly the same as what you had in mind, or what the person that you learned it from, or the one who came up with the recipe, how they would have done it if they had done it. But the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you become at it. The more you bake it, the more you do it, you become better and better at doing that thing. Eventually, you can even do it without going back to the recipe. But when you look at the process, it started with a decision. I want a banana cake. Then there's a second step. I'm going to find a recipe. How does one make a banana cake? Then you got the ingredients. Say, okay, once I have the recipe, let me go and get the resources that are necessary for me to make the banana cake. You didn't just get the resources, you actually baked the cake. You kept doing it over and over until you gain mastery over it. It's the same with money. Once you've identified your goal, to say this is my goal, I want to become wealthy to this extent, then what you do is you identify somebody similar to your situation, somebody with an environment similar to yours who did something, who was able to gain wealth, even coming from an environment that is the same as yours or even worse. Because I can assure you, whatever situations we are in, however worse off we may think we are, there's always somebody somewhere who's been able to succeed in the same circumstances or worse circumstances and come out better. So you come up or you find somebody and who has been able to succeed with a similar background, a similar environment to yours. Now with all this information that is readily available, you can even Google, you can find it on YouTube, you can find it anywhere. You watch their interviews. It doesn't have to be physically one-on-one. You watch their interviews, you read their books, you learn what they did. And as you start learning those things, then you start implementing them. You implement them, you get results. They may not be as flourishing in the first place when you do it the first time, but the more you do it, the better you become. And then eventually you will learn what they've done, you'll be able to produce the results that they produce. And then after that, when you're able to see that, I can do these results, I can achieve these results, you go on to the next person. So the trick here is not to come up with, for example, I wouldn't come up with Elon Musk or Warren Buffett, because they have mastered. Warren Buffett started when he was 11 years old. Now he's in his 90s. So the resources that they have available to them, the challenges that they have available to them are definitely not similar to what I have. So I'll start with somebody who's just maybe 10 steps ahead of me until I get to that point. Once I've mastered that level, then I'll go to somebody who is maybe 20, 50 times ahead of, 20, 50 steps ahead of me. I'll master what that person knows as well. While all along, I'm targeting that my ultimate goal is that person who is like way ahead. So we do it step by step. Remember, you make a decision, I want a banana cake. So you've made a decision, I want to create financial, I want to attain wealth. And then I will get a recipe. For you, you say, I've identified this person who has been able to succeed in this area and come up with wealth, or come up to a certain level of wealth. Then you get to understand what is it that they know that you don't know. In other words, what is the recipe? What is the method that they use to get to where they did? So you don't just understand the method, you go and gather the resources that they had, what they said they had done to come to the point where they succeeded. You gather those resources, you don't just gather them, you take action. You implement whatever it is that they did. You do it over and over and over again until you gain mastery over it. And you can see results to say that my income was $0, but now it's $1,000. Or if it's like $1,000 per month, or maybe it was $1,000, I wanted it to go to $10,000 a month. So my income has reached that goal that I had set myself, $10,000 a month. If you're on the 10,000 and you want to move to $100,000 a month, you identify somebody who's operating at that level and you go through the same process. So the process is the same. You make a decision, you identify somebody who's done or gone through the process and has succeeded. You follow the process, you repeat it until you get it right. You see the results in your life. They may not produce the same $100,000 at the first instance that they are producing, but that's because they've been doing it for a long time. They have experience, which you don't have because you're just starting out. So that's okay. Once you're able to, if you're aiming for the 100, once you're able to get $20,000, $30,000 a month, move on to the next level. The ones who know how to get $200,000 a month. Once you're doing that, there's a gradual increase that you're making. And by the end of a year, by the end of 5 years, your life will not be the same. So we build a money mindset. We take ownership of our money. We make a decision that we want to attain wealth, not just a wish or a fantasy. We set clear goals and then we take action. Once we've done that, a decision to make wealth, learn how others did it. Even if you fail, you'll be way ahead of the ones that haven't even taken a step yet. So that would be the first part that I would share with you, the mindset of wealth. Despite all the odds, all the systems that are against you, you come to a point where you've built up your mind to believing that you have the capacity to attain wealth, that you are able to attain wealth. If an ant can do it, if an ant can save, why can't you? So when you talk about savings, savings is just the portion of income that you haven't spent on current expenditure. In other words, all we're trying to do is to get to a point where you spend less than what you earn. So in the same instance where we say take control of your money, like see where your money is going, in the case of savings, the first thing that would say that would help for you to take control of your money is to create a budget. Track your income, track your expenses, so that you understand where your money is going. This will help you to identify areas that you can cut back on and areas that you can save. It will help you to monitor your finances, and it will also help you to figure out why you don't have enough. As you're tracking it, you'll be able to identify or to help yourself or come to a decision to say, so that you can stop spending money on things that are not directly with your livelihood or with your goal of attaining financial progress. Your worth in general is determined by your ability to control your urges to spend money on unimportant things. Do you really need that extra 100% Brazilian weave? Depending on the stage at which you are at in life. Because life goes in stages. If you're young and you're just starting out, your wardrobe is full of clothes, and yet you're busy on those apps trying to find even more clothes. That money that you want to get extra clothes, could you not have invested it? Could you not have saved it and set aside to invest it to gain your wealth or to attain your goal, of your financial goal of attaining wealth? So depending on the stage that you're at, once you're tracking your money, you'll be able to know which areas you can cut on, which areas you can save on, so that you can see how you can direct your money. In saving as well, you set clear goals. So what does it look like to set goals in saving? One, you can say, maybe I want to save, like, what is the purpose for your saving? I want to travel. I want to save for my education. I want to save for an emergency fund. Once you have that goal clearly set out, then you say, okay, if it's education, I want to be able to study from this period. It means between now and that date where you've set for yourself to say, this is the time when I'm going to use this money, you will be saving. So that goal in itself, it will motivate you. It will help you to be disciplined. If it's for travel, it's the same thing. When do you want to travel? That date that you've set for yourself as part of your goals will motivate you as you are saving, to ensure that by that date, you are able to have saved the amount that you want to do. So you determine your purpose as part of your setting your goals. Why are you saving? What is the timeline? And as you set those two, that in itself will motivate you towards saving. The second thing is you take action. You set your goals, you set your timeline, you set the purpose. Now the next thing is action. A plan is as good as the implementation. So in money matters, we say that knowledge and action, knowledge multiplied by action, will determine your income. More on the action side than on the knowledge. Because you can get all the knowledge that you have, but if you don't take action, then you won't have an income. But at least even with a little knowledge, if you take a lot of action, the income will become more. So knowledge, action. We've learned about setting clear goals. Now you need to take the action. So one of the actions that you can take is to automate savings, like where you have a fixed amount that goes to your savings account or whatever it is that you're saving towards every month. So once you treat that as a fixed expense, it makes it easier to build up a saving culture and over time. And the other thing is to start small. You start from where you are, and from the little that you have, you keep on doing it. Cut unnecessary expenses. These are basic things. Avoid impulse buyings. Shop smart. Take advantage of discounts. Track your progress. Reduce debt. Some say pay off the high interest debt first. Some say pay off the smaller debt first, so that you can get motivated to say, I've finished off this debt, now I can hit the next big one. So action, action, action. Always remembering that building up savings takes time and it takes discipline. The sooner you start, the better you become at it. The more disciplined you are, the more your financial progress will be. And when you're worthy, that foundation, that building block of saving, that discipline will also help you to maintain your wealth and to grow it to the next level, whatever that next level may be. When we talk about investments, it's the same thing. The investment now is an act of putting money aside today to generate income for the future. The thing is, once you've saved your money, whatever amount it is, if you save it in just a basic bank account, you lose value, because all money loses value over time, mostly due to inflation. If you look at Uganda now, the medium target for inflation, I think it's 5% by the end of 2023. If you look at Malawi, the inflation is at 27.7%. So whatever money that you had, if you just kept it in a savings account with a minimal interest rate, you're losing value because the money is just sitting there. So to avoid that, that's why people invest. So you educate yourself to the power of long-term investing, and then there are so many investments that you can get into. It depends at the stage of life that you're at. If you're just starting out early, the main investment that you can do is to invest in yourself. Increase your skills, build yourself. Ensure that your chargeable rate per hour or per day has increased. You do that by building up your skills, by learning what others that are doing better have learned or are implementing, so that you can also implement it in your life. So invest in yourself so that your chargeable hourly rate is increasing. You can even change jobs, because at that point you're just learning. So you can change jobs if it's going to better your financial goals. If you're growing on, some will take a retirement as an investment as well, depending also on the stage of life that you're looking at. But if you want real wealth, then that's when you consider diversifying and getting into different portfolios. So you have a diversified portfolio that could take into account stocks, property, bonds, and so many other things, which the information is readily available with your wealth asset managers, who you can contact at any point in time, or also you can even Google it. There are so many options that are available now. I'm going to choose maybe one or two examples that I can look at because of time, so that we can see if we can learn something from it. If you take an example of investing on the stock market, that's where you have at least earned a bit of money and you have a bit of excess that you can save. If you invest on the stock market, what you're doing is you are buying a percentage of a share or a shareholding in a company. So whatever number of shares that you bought in that particular company is that you're getting ownership of that, part ownership of that company, represented by the percentage of the shares that you bought. So that gives you an entitlement to share in the profits of the company, which you get through dividends, and it also gives you capital gain, which you gain which happens as the prices increase over time. So when you're generally investing on the stock market, it means you're mostly looking at the long term. What you want to achieve in the medium term, in the long term. These are not like short-term investments. An alternative that you can also do is property. The only drawback with property is the entry barrier, because the initial outlay that you have to put in is significant. So that is something that maybe you wait until you don't do in your early stages, but something that you do after you've achieved or hit or after you've achieved certain targets along your financial progress. So you can invest in property as well, but when you're investing in property, always remember location. Location is key. The better the location, the most likely the better that you get in terms of your capital gain and also returns in terms of rentals. So invest in there are so many investment options. You can invest on the stock market, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in bonds, you can invest in a business, even trading, as long as you understand what you're investing in. Trading is the simplest. You buy low, you sell high. Anybody can do it, and it can be done at any stage of life. Even if you're just starting out, you can just choose something. Anybody can do it. You can do it like maybe even as a part-time income. You do your normal work, or you are studying, you do it after school. You buy something from this location at a cheaper price. As long as there's demand, you put your markup on it, you sell it at a higher price. In so doing, you're creating worth. The profit that you're making is something that you can reinvest, and then you make more worth. You do it over and over again. Increase your reach, increase your market. Maybe you can put the product online. Maybe you can get somebody else to help you. If you put it online, for example, it means instead of just selling within your location, within your city, within your village, now we've got people from everywhere, from anywhere, who have access to that, who can buy. You've also taken advantage of time, because while you're sleeping, with the time difference, anybody else in a different country with a different time frame can look at your product and can still buy. So the key is you make your goal, you take action. The action includes learning what those who've succeeded have done. Once you learn, you apply that knowledge. Once you apply that knowledge, you repeat it. You do it over and over again until you've mastered it. Once you've mastered it, then you go on to the next phase. So you set goals to say, for this season, for this period, I'm targeting this monthly, or this as my net worth, or this as my monthly income, this as my annual income. Once you hit that phase, you go to the next phase. For the next year, this is my target. For the next year, this is my target. 5 years, where are you going to be? 10 years, where are you going to be? But it all starts by making a decision. It should not just be wishful thinking. It should not just be a fantasy, but make an actual decision and take real action. Once those two happen, you are onto your path towards financial progress. Remember, the ant, as small as it is, it's able to do something. If an ant can invest, if an ant can save for the future, what about us? We have the capacity to create wealth. We have the capacity to overcome all the difficulties, all the systems that are there to hold us back from achieving our goal of financial wealth. We have the capacity to get onto that list of millionaires in dollars, billionaires in dollars. As long as we learn what those people have done, we apply it, we are consistent with it, we are disciplined to stay with it, and then we'll see the results. The Bible says it in this way. It says that we should be followers of those who through faith and patience obtain the promise. What promise have you set for yourself? What is your goal? Go towards it. And financial success will once be something that you can refer to, or others will refer to you and say, look at them, and then they'll start copying what you did and starting the process again.